guys. Hope everybody has had an opportunity to set your goals, and we're all going to drop 5 to 10 pounds, and we're off to a good start now. But anyway, just looking back just quickly on 2012, it's a really, really a great year for us. I'm really proud of our team. I'm proud of our staff and their competitive consistency, the consistency in their preparation, their practice, their habits, their commitment off the field, all of those things, and because everything counts. It's obviously every week when you line up, everybody wants to win, and I'm proud of just again how our players have bought in and how they continually improve in a lot of areas. I think that this year was just a culmination of steady progress, really over the last 4 years. And one of the things I told our team, you got to learn how to. 4 years ago, we didn't win a division, and now we've won 3 of them, 2 outright and 1 coach championship. And we talked a lot about 4 years ago when we started the journey we're on right now, and trying to, compete for this conference consistently. And we won it outright and we competed consistently. So I'm proud of what we've done there. And we talked a lot about trying to win 10 or more games and become one of those national teams that is ranked, and we've been able to do that. And so I'm proud of their commitment to that. We talked a lot about learning to win at home, making this a tough environment. And this team this year set an all-time record for wins in a row at home. And then before we played LSU, one of the things I told them was you can't win 12 till you win 11, and you can't win the national championship until you learn to win games like this. And we've had everything is an opportunity to learn, everything is an opportunity to grow. And, we're always studying, always trying to get better, always trying to correct mistakes. And I'm really proud of our team and how they competed in the last game. It was just an awesome performance. And the thing I'm most proud of is that it was a top 10 finish for us, and obviously that hasn't happened here in a long time. But I'm more proud of the fact that we were top 10 in football, but we were also top 10 academically. And that's something that's what we try to be. We're trying to be the best that we possibly can be in every area, not just on the field. And that's how we try to do things here, and our guys have bought into that. I'm excited about our banquet tomorrow night. We've got 13 seniors, 11 on scholarship, 2 walk-ons that will be on that podium, and every single one of them already have their degree. And that is ultimately what it's all about. And so great group of seniors that was on that team this past year that will be moving on. And that's the sad part about this business, is because guys have to leave. It's not like you can just keep them here. They have to move on. But these guys are prepared. They're well prepared to go be successful in whatever it is they choose to do. And I don't have any doubt that they will, and they'll all be great ambassadors for Clemson. I had a team meeting yesterday, and we just kind of turned the page. It was a good. We enjoyed this last game for a few days, but now it's all about 2013. It's a new football team, and it's always interesting. That meeting, that first meeting, is always interesting because it's a little different, because you get so used to being with a group of guys and seeing this guy sit here and this guy sit here and this guy sit here, and Bouchard sit there, and on and on and on. And now all of a sudden those guys are gone, and it's a new group of seniors and juniors, sophomores. It's a new football team. And that's what we talked about yesterday, is the challenges that lie ahead for us. And we're going to study ourselves, we're going to study other people, and we'll try to get better. We'll try to continue to close the gap on being the best out there, because that's our goal. We want to be the best. We don't want to be one of the best. We want to be the best, and that's I think we're heading in that direction. A couple guys, Morgan Roberts, just really appreciate his contribution to us, a guy that I was really excited about. And to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised to look up a few years down the road and see that young man maybe even playing after college. I think that he has developmental talent. He really has a chance to develop a very fine player. But he's if you spend any time with Morgan, he's an interesting guy, and he's got big goals. I mean, he wants to be president of the United States. So for some reason, he feels like Yale or Harvard might give him a better path in that regard. I don't really understand that. But, he had an opportunity to go to Harvard or Yale, and kind of hard to argue with that opportunity. And so he chose Yale, and he's going to go up there and play some quarterback and try to pursue his off-the-field goals of becoming one of our politicians. And so we'll wish him well and appreciate everything that he did for us here. He certainly is class in every regard. And same thing with Nuke Hopkins. Really going to miss Nuke. And yes, he's a great player on game day, but Nuke is a great competitor. Nuke was a guy that brought a hard edge, every day. He had a quiet confidence to him, and good players come and go, but Nuke Hopkins is a special guy to me. And not only is he special to me, he's special to the people in this community. I mean, he's one of our own right here. He's achieved a lot of goals, a lot of dreams, and he feels like that it's time for him to go play on the next level. And listen, each one of these guys have to make their own decisions, and we support them in whatever they ultimately decide, because they're the ones who are going to live with consequences either way. And I don't have any doubt he'll be a great professional. I know you already knew that he'd be going. Recruiting right now is full speed ahead. We've got pretty busy few weeks coming up, and we've got a lot of young men coming on our campus this weekend. We're excited about that. I'm really excited about what I think this recruiting class will be. And so we've got, again, our banquet tomorrow night, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about a new award that our program is going to hand out. Something I've put a lot of thought into over the last several months. And the thing that we talk about here all the time is the standard of best. Just everybody trying to be the best that they can be. My best is different from your best. But whatever God's given us is making the best of your opportunities on and off the field. And that's, again, the message that we try to teach these guys and ingrain into these guys throughout our program. And it's fun to me to see a senior, because I know where they were as a freshman, and to see them just transform and change and buy in, and to see how the program is working in those areas outside of just teaching them how to be a good football player. That's much more important to me. And we wanted to. And really, just because my experience with the Bobby Dodd last year is really what kind of spurred the thought to me. Because, Bobby Dodd was more than just football coach. And that award is more than just coaching. It's scholarship, it's leadership, it's integrity, it's the way you do things, the way you represent things. Our banquet is about our players, it's about our seniors. Here's a group of guys that are heading off into their next part of their journey in life. And you've got a bunch of young guys that hope to be seniors one day. And so we are going to establish a new award here, and it's going to be called the Brian Dawkins Clemson Lifetime Achievement Award. And put a lot of thought. We've got a committee. There'll be we'll take recommendations up through October. There'll be a former player. You've got to be 10 years removed from Clemson at a minimum. Because we want this person to have to go and live life. And, but what we want this person to represent is that standard of best. That's what we want this person to represent. Being committed to being the best that you can be, whatever it is that you're doing. And, Brian Dawkins epitomizes that. in my opinion. Ryan Dawkins will probably be our first Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer. I can't imagine him not being, but just the way he's lived his life, the way he represents. So that's why we named it, the Brian Dawkins Award. And so each year we'll review the candidates. The committee will make recommendations. We'll select someone by November, and then that person will be notified. And then, every year at our banquet, we want to honor this player, this former player, and then we'll have engagement opportunities throughout that year, where this person will have an opportunity to be involved in our program, and a game, and go to the bowl game with some things like that. So we want to make it a special thing, be one person a year, and I hope, and I didn't put Dabo Sweeney on the committee, I put head football coach. Because one of these days I won't be here. I'll either retire here or they're going to run me out of here. Probably one of the two, somewhere along the way. But I hope to look back, to be honest with you, 20 years from now, and this is an award that's still established and is being presented every year. And obviously our first recipient this year will be Ryan Dawkins. And really excited about honoring him in that regard. And you'll hear more about this award. Tim is actually on the committee. He'll be doing press releases each year, throughout the year, about the award winner and different engagement opportunities. So excited about that. And then lastly, Mike Reed, has officially been hired here. Found out through the release. And I'm excited about Mike. Mike's a great fit for us. He knows our players. A lot of our players are familiar with him because he's involved in their recruiting process as well. I've had an up-close interview with him for 6 years because I've studied him closely, and he's done a tremendous job with the secondary at NC State. He's done an outstanding job, and he's had several all-conference and guys that have led the country in different things. Very, very good on third down this year. He's got a great wife, Kimberly, and 2 children. And I'm just excited about him joining us. He's been around some really, really good football coaches. Andy Reid, Tom Coughlin, Coach O'Brien. So he brings a little bit of a different background, and I think that's really good. Got a ton of energy. He fits our recruiting footprint. He knows it very well, and will easily be able to slide in where we need him to be. And so again, just really excited about Mike and getting started with him. And I think our players are really excited. Interviewed some quality people, but in the end, he was the easy choice for us and the best fit at this time. His experience in coaching all 4 is also a critical factor, as he's been doing that at a high level. And then his tremendous recommendations, were important as well. So we welcome Mike, and hopefully y'all enjoy getting to know him as well. So with that, I'll take some questions.
Dabo, was Coach Reed a guy you singled out sort of from the beginning of your search?
Yeah, he was one of the first 3 names I wrote down. Once I found out that Charlie was leaving, I just immediately, just right off the top of my head, bam, 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 and he was one of those 3. Then you get a lot of other people, a lot of different, people calling you and recommendations from people that you know and so forth. And I'll tell you, and I told Mike this. One of the main reasons that he's here, other than just his success as a football coach, is I actually met him when I was an assistant, 6 years ago. He and I were both recruiting down in Jackson, Florida. I didn't know him at all. And that was the first time that I ever met him. And to meet a lot of people in this business, and I was just very impressed with how he handled himself. Very classy guy, tons of integrity, did things the right way. You come across different guys in this business. Some guys you might want to go have a cup of coffee with, some guys that just know what. And he's just one of those guys that I enjoyed being around and appreciated how he did his job. Even though we're both competing against each other. And then several other times, every time I was around him over the last 6 years, just same thing, consistent, class, never heard anything bad about it. So, you know, I talked to Coach O'Brien for a long time about it, and I told Mike that. I said, you know what, you never know, you know, the webs that we weave and the interactions, how you know, some chance meeting or some seed that you sowed a while ago, you never know how that's going to come back. And that's why it's important to treat people the right way, and because you just never know. And Mike Reed is again a guy that immediately jumped out at me. And then you start studying the success that he's had as a position coach. You know, it's very impressive.
You said he'll slide into where you need him to be as far as recruiter. Where will that be?
Well, he'll have North Carolina. Obviously, he's got some. We got to sit down, and we haven't really established everything. But he's recruited Atlanta heavily, and so you know, Charlie recruited Atlanta heavily for us, so that'll be a natural fit. He's recruited some in South Carolina, so he understands the footprint here. He's obviously recruited in North Carolina, and then he's got some other ties a little bit up in the Maryland area and all that, over into Virginia. So he's got a pretty good you know, web as far as his recruiting relationships out there. But primarily, you'll probably see him down there in the Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina area starting out.
Yeah, well, on offense, with your guys who had to make decisions, including Chad Morris, you surprised how any of it turned out? I mean, obviously, you know, Chad was going to be looked at because of what you guys have done. Taj had a decision, and people were going to be interested in him. Were you surprised that they are still here, and conversely surprised, you know, how close was Nuke's decision about whether he wanted to stay or go? What did that?
Not surprised by any of it at all. You know, I think it was close with Nuke. You know, I felt like he needed another year. I felt like another year would be beneficial to him from a just overall growth standpoint. And, you know, but you know, that's my opinion. I've said this before. Unless you're a first rounder, I just don't think it's worth giving up your senior year of college. That's what my life experience tells me. And I've been in college football for 24 years as a player and a coach. And you know, I just think that you're always better off, more times than not, in another year of college and maturing physically, mentally, you know, every regard, unless you have a chance to be a first rounder. I don't think where it is today, the second round money, the third round money, after you pay the government, an agent, and buy a car, a few clothes, and give mom something, I don't think that's worth it. But that's my opinion. You know, I've been a senior, and I wouldn't change. I wouldn't take anything for the experience that I had as a senior. You know, I certainly wasn't going to be a second-round draft pick. I hope that Nuke can be. I hope that he could possibly move up somehow, but I just don't know. It's a real inexact thing. You know, receivers are usually slide the other way. You know, that's the mentality. Well, we really need this left tackle. We'll get a receiver in the third round, and that's the thing that you get into. And I've seen it time and time and time and time again. And you know, I just think that when it's not clear cut, I think continuing to pursue your education, in my opinion, is of paramount importance. And so those are things that I certainly share with Nuke. But that's just an opinion. At the end of the day, he's a grown man, and he has to make the decision that's best for him, that he believes in his heart. And then when they make that decision, you support them. Simple as that. And that's, you know, listen, you put my arms around Nuke. Nuke came in yesterday and talked to the team, and certainly want him to have an opportunity to do that. You know, I know this, he's going to be a great pro, whoever gets him. Ain't no doubt in that. Now, there's no doubt. It's not a matter of can he go play. I think he's going to play at a high level. I think he's going to be a great player. The challenge is you got to play 4 or 5 years. If you don't go in at a high level, you have to play 4 or 5 years to get to a second contract. and the odds are way against you to do that. Almost like winning the lottery, you have a better chance. That's reality. So, you know, I mean, it's just, but again, everybody has to make their own decisions and live with that. But I personally think he won't just be a good player. I think he will be a great player. You know, hopefully I think he's got the potential to play a long time if he can stay healthy and all that kind of stuff, because I definitely think he'll be productive.
You don't think he'll be a first-round draft choice?
I think it's going to be tough. You know, I think it'll be tough. I hope that he can be. I think he's deserving of that. As far as if I'm just take a receiver, you know, and you're a team out there and you need a wide out. I know I'm biased. I'm taking New Hopkins, and I know there's other great players out there, and you know, and I've got orange glasses on, but I'm taking New Hopkins because of the things that I know about him. But again, you know, those receivers aren't very good without a great left tackle, or you know, you've got a chance to take a different perspective defensive end. You know, there's only 32 picks. That's it. So it gets tight, and I don't know if he can get there. And you know, the thing for me was I felt like that, you know, even if he came back and broke his arm and didn't play a snap next year, he could be a third rounder, but be even more mentally prepared and further with his education, if not graduate, because he had a chance to graduate in December. So, you know, that's just an opinion. And but again, you give them the opinion and then they move forward. It's like back when CJ. I thought for sure CJ was probably a late first rounder. There's no way. I was like, hey man, you're gonna have to make this call. You know, this you come back here, it's just because you just want to be a senior. And so everybody's different. Everybody's different. But I think in the long haul, the guys who start the longest, play the longest in college, typically have the most success.
Was his grade a second-round grade?
He got as high as second round. Was his grade? Yeah. I told him that. I said, I really think you'll get a second-round grade. You know, I said, but you know, I'm worried about you slipping. You know, and depending on who comes in the draft. And again, I'm consistent with that. Unless you're a first rounder like day one, I said, you got to go, man. I said, you got to go. I mean, you know, that was an unusual situation. But he was a top 10 pick without some unusual circumstances. You know, that certainly my advice to him. Life-changing.
How did it play out with Taj from your perspective?
You know, same thing. You know, just general conversation. I felt like he'd be back all along. He definitely needed to be back. Could he have been drafted? Sure. Nowhere near where he would want to be drafted. Nowhere near where he can and will be drafted with another year of production. And you know, you just look at the improvement that he had from last year to this year. He's going to continually get better. And you know, you've got a 2 or 3 year window. You know, the NFL is especially how they flip the money. It's right. It's the way it really should be. You know, they flipped all the money that goes to the veterans now. You got about 2 or 3 years to really establish yourself, and you're either a bona fide guy or you're not. If you're a fringe guy, you're out because they just take a rookie and pay him less. It's just a straight business decision. And so the more prepared you are for that 2 or 3 year window, the better opportunity you have. And I think Taj made a great decision. I think he's got an opportunity to be even more prepared for that opportunity, and hopefully be able to go in and make more of an impact, you know, right out the gate. So I think it's a great situation, obviously, for us to have a guy, have a 2 year starter coming back, a guy who's won 21 games in 2 years. But I think it's also a great opportunity for Taj to further enhance his dreams of playing on the next level. And again, same thing. He's the guy that you know, hopefully stays healthy, but you know messes his left elbow up and can't play 6 games. He'd probably still be drafted right where he'd be drafted this year. So I'm excited that he's back, and you know, it's going to be a fun football team to coach.
Is there any one area he'll be working on in the year ahead? Is there something he needs to improve? I mean,
Yeah,
he's got-
those are all things that what we do, and you know, we're just getting back and getting going, and we got recruiting, but we go through everything. And once we get through all the video, the data, and break it down, we analyze it, and twist it around every way we can, you know, then we sit down and we see, hey, here's the areas that we need to improve offensively, defensively, special teams, maybe some things from a coaching standpoint that we need to do a little better, whatever that is, as we put our collective heads together. And then here's individually, you know, what guys need to do. That takes a little bit of time to really process. You want to really go through and break it down on what he did. But I'll say this: he is greatly improved. You know, just continuing to you know, be a consistent performer is going to be a key thing for him.
We discussed the 4 freshmen that are here now. What do you think they'll add to the program now?
I only got 3 here
Those are 3
right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Evo is here, Jadar is here, and Jordan is here. Appreciate that. All 3 of those guys are here. Introduced them to the team yesterday, kind of formally, and their heads are spinning. I mean, you know, they just, one guy shows up from Brooklyn, another guy shows up from Navarre Beach, and you got one from Orangeburg in here. And, you know, they're boom, you know, right in the middle of their senior year. So it's obviously a transition, but those are 3 quality players that we are really excited. I mean, getting Jordan is huge, you know, and getting him here mid-year, you know, big need at safety. So Jadar being here mid-year, and then, you know, Evo was like winning the lottery. This guy has got great upside, and the fact that he's a mid-year guy and you know, very bright, very smart young man. You know, he's I think going to be a really special addition for our football team.
Any thought on the fact the schedule is now out and kind of the future of the ACC? You see it with the Syracuse game being added and kind of now getting used to a whole new kind of deal there?
Well, you know, it just gets tougher. Yeah, it just keeps on, it doesn't get any easier, that's for sure. And I know Georgia Tech is coming back here. I think originally Duke was supposed to be coming here, so we lost Duke here, at Georgia Tech here. So instead of going to Atlanta, we're going to Syracuse. So, you know, we've never been there, and I know the Carrier Dome has always been a tough place to go and play. So that'll be a new experience for us. But you know, I thought Coach Marone did a great job with Syracuse, and I know that they're a different program and a different team than they were when he took that job a few years ago. I like Doug a lot, really good guy. But, so we'll have our hands full in that regard. And I haven't sat down and really studied. I know we go to Virginia, and I know who our home games are. The only thing I'm really focused on is, you know, trying to get this football team ready for all season and spring ball and Georgia. Beyond that, that's about as far as I can look at it. I think it's a great schedule from a opportunity to compete to be the best. You know, we're probably going to have 3 top 10 teams on our schedule. I can't imagine Georgia, and Florida State, and South Carolina would be top 10 teams. They're top 10 teams now, a lot back. So we'll see, but should be fun.
Do you let yourself think, you know, you've been saying the past couple of years, our best years are ahead of us, we've got so many young people. Do you let yourself think next year is the year when we put it all together and get to where we've been talking about where we want to be?
Well, it's always about the next game. It's always about the next season, regardless of where you are. But you know, 4 years ago, you know, we've been kind of looking ahead. You know, personnel, where we are. We're going to have to kind of navigate through some waters here. You know, I think we got a good football team. I think that we're going to probably be as good in the trenches as we've been in a long time. It's probably going to be the first time up front that we have the correct combination of talent, depth, and experience. And to me, that's the most exciting thing. And we're still got a lot of youth. You know, we're not going to have any seniors on the defensive line next year. Zero. We didn't have any juniors. You know, so I'm excited about that. And we're only going to have 2 seniors on the offensive line, but a lot of guys, it's going to be even better. You know, taking a guy like Isaiah Baldwin, you know, go beat LSU. Him playing left tackle is a true freshman. And he's just going to grow immensely from that in just another year, another offseason, another spring. I mean, Taylor Davis, Ryan Norton, Eric McLean. I mean, we got Stefano, Guillermo. We got a lot of young players that I'm excited about that I think is going to be even better. So I think offensive line-wise, you know, the difference, we had more competition in the defensive line this year. All those freshmen, sophomores were, you know, it was very competitive, and we were able to play a lot of guys. One of the things that helped us win 11 games. Offensive line-wise, we didn't quite have that. It was a little bit, we had a pretty good first group, a couple guys close, and then it was a pretty big drop. Not talent, just dependability. And so I think that's going to close tremendously that gap. And I think we'll have a lot of competition in the offensive line. We're already going to have it in the defensive line. So I like our team. You know, we got a good quarterback. You know, we're going to have a really good group of backs. I mean, Hot Rod had a great year this year, and he's proven that, you know, he can be a guy for you. You know, we've got to replace Newt, but we've got some quality people that have just been waiting for more opportunities. I mean, you saw what Sharon Peake did with his opportunities early in the year, and he can play. And it's his chance to step up, and I'm excited about that. We'll be fine at receiver. We're going to be fine at tight end. You know, we've got Sam coming back, a much more experienced player. Dale coming back, a very valuable guy on our team. And then we've got J.J. McCullough and Jordan Leggett, 2 exciting young talents that we're going to have a chance to develop this spring and figure out what roles we want for them. And you know, I like our kicking situation. We got Cat Zero back. He's gone from the least to the greatest throughout his career. And I think he's just going to continue to be a consistent performer. And you know, I'm excited about Bradley Payne. We got our snappers back, so you know, we got a lot of good things in place. But you know, every team is different. So I told us, I mean, you know, you have to be willing to pay the price. You got to be willing to pay the price that it takes. I think our guys understand that the margin for error is small when you're trying to be elite. They get that, and I think that they have the right attitude of belief. So we'll see whether or not we deserve it or not by how we work this off season, this spring and summer.
Where's your biggest concern area when you look at your roster going into 2013?
Well, the biggest concern area would probably be just the guys in the secondary kind of shoring that back up. You know, and I say that, but I'm confident in the guys we had. And really, it was a difficult situation for us this year because you lose 3 guys that were very significant contributors. You lose Darius Robinson, who started and played a lot of games, and he's out for half the year. And you lose Martin Jenkins for the whole year. We probably don't win the ACC last year without Martin Jenkins. And I think he has got tremendous ability and upside. You lose Breland, who I thought might have been our best player as a redshirt freshman. I thought he was as good a player as we had. He was hurt most of the year, in and out, and he was trying to play through it. So you know, getting those guys back is going to be huge. They've all played, but you throw in the fact that because of that situation, a guy like Gary Peters was able to get a lot of playing time and grow his confidence. And Cortez as a freshman this year, you know, I think we're going to be in good shape, having the ability to work Travis Blanks pretty much all safety for the last, you know, 4 or 5 weeks that we had in preparation. It's going to be huge for our football team. Robert Smith is a guy that I think is ready to, you know, I think he's been just waiting for Meeks and Brewer and Hall and guys to get out of here. But it's kind of like when we had Hamlin and all them guys, and Meeks was kind of waiting for his chance to step up. And I'm hoping that Robert Smith will take that next step. And that's an area of our team that we've got to kind of solidify. Getting all those pieces in the right place. Very confident about our linebacker situation. I think that we've got a a great group of linebackers. I'm confident with our defensive line. Feel good about our offensive line. I think Ron Norton is going to be able to step in and do a fine job for us at center. And obviously replacing Ellington is going to be a key thing. Developing, that quality rotation and depth at running back is key for us. I just, the big thing is, are they going to go and make the right decisions like 2012 team did? Are they going to have the same type of leadership and accountability that 2012 did? I know what the 2012 team did. It's well documented. That ain't got nothing to do with this team. This is nothing to do. This is a new team, new chemistry, new leadership, new accountability. A whole another year of having to make the right decisions and the right choices and paying the price. We'll see.
Dabo, you talked about closing the gap with some of the, I guess, the elite programs in the country. How much does beating one of them in a bowl game sort of help you do that?
Well, there's I think there's only 11 teams in the country that have had back-to-back 10-win seasons. We're one of them. I think there's only 6 teams in the country that have been ranked 29 straight weeks or more. Us and South Carolina, Stanford, Oregon, LSU, Alabama. I think this team has earned the right to at least be respected as a very good football team. And I'm proud of what they've done. Competed really hard this year. Wish we were 13-0, 2 really tough, difficult losses that we competed hard in and had our chances. But beating LSU, listen, LSU is the winningest program in the SEC in the last 10 years. They've won more games than anybody. They've got, Lord, I don't know how many NFL guys they've got. They've got like 22 juniors leaving early or something to go. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The type of talent that they have there. So I think that it just does a lot for our football team and knowing that, hey, we don't take a backseat to anybody. We can play and compete with anybody in the country. And again, until you do it, you have to go and do things, and then you learn. But I think that our guys, you got to look at the makeup of our team. We've only got 10 scholarship seniors for this next year. So we're a huge junior, sophomore team right now. But all those guys have won 21 games in 2 years. And with that comes an expectation. With that comes a belief. They understand the commitment that it takes. And, those are positive things. That's the kind of culture that you want your players to have. They're not hoping to win. They expect to win. They weren't hoping to beat LSU. They were expecting to beat LSU, and they paid a price, and they prepared well, and they made those few plays that made the difference in that game. Because LSU's a great football team. They competed their butts off. We just made a few more plays than they did. It's really that simple. But that's what it comes down to when you got good football teams playing. There's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser, and it's just a few plays, unless somebody just plays like completely out of their character.
What scholarships do you have available for this class?
We're probably going to end up, so we've had a little bit of attrition. We'll probably end up signing, probably at least 21, 23, maybe 24, depending on who those guys are. We don't really just sign guys to sign them. We want to feel like that they meet a specific need. We think long term. We think also about next year. Right now, again, we've got 10 seniors for next year. And we had some room this year because we had some attrition last year, and we put some of the walk-ons on, and we'll get those back. So that's what helped our numbers this year. So we'll have, at this point, for sure, 21. But could go 23, 24.
It seems like there's a lot of decommitments, not just for guys that were headed here, but for many major programs in the country. Is that a disturbing trend to you, or is it kind of part and parcel from the process? It's
not a new trend. It's a new trend here. We hadn't had that here. It's just I guess it was our turn in the batter's box this year. But we certainly have not had an issue with that here. But it's been going on in college football. you know, that's why, you know, again, I think there should be an early signing period. I think that it's a waste of time. I think it would cut out a lot of garbage that goes on in the recruiting process. I think it would help those teams that you know, because listen, you know, you have to, the way recruiting has changed, you're having to evaluate 10th graders. And you're having to make decisions on guys, because if you don't, you're behind and you're not going to have a chance to recruit them. Because guys are making, there's just so much more information. They all know everybody, they know who's recruiting. Oh, they got 2 spots for a running back, they got 1 spot for his quarterback, they all know. And guys secure their spots, and it's hard to continue to recruit when you don't have a scholarship. And so you literally stop recruiting other guys when you fill up at certain positions. That's just part of it. And you know, if you had an early say, you know, I feel like you should have like an October 15th signing day. And then all those committed guys, you know, the ones who are truly committed will sign. And those who don't sign, well then you know they're not committed, so you better go start recruiting. And you know, that's, in my opinion, the way it should be. And then I think that the players should be protected. You know, because if they fire the coach, or the coach packs up and leaves, I think that if either one of those scenarios happen, then their NLI that they signed in October is null and void. And they're just continuing to be recruited and still can sign it on the February signing day. It's just because what would be the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference in a guy being committed and then in December they fire the coach and he says, I ain't going in no more? What's the difference? And a guy being signed to that school in October, and then they fire the coach or the coach leaves. Well, okay, the new guy coming in, those guys are free now to still be signed again on February. I think that would be the only scenario. So that would, I think, protect the school, cut out a lot of wasted time and money, number one, and I think it would protect the student athlete, and if there was a change in their situation. And then all this early commit stuff, it would be real or not. It'd be true commitments and not reservations. But it's a problem. I mean, it is, because again, you know, if you're doing it the right way and you're being honest with people, and you don't take 2 of these, and you know you've got 2 great ones committed, well, it's kind of hard to go, because you got to meet your needs at other positions. So it's kind of hard to go keep recruiting this guy, because they all know what you told. You know, so it's a tough situation.